Walking against the wind might sound like a lot of fun, but it also means you'll trip, you'll fall, you'll be late to arrive, and you might also lose some hair in the process. The exact opposite of this is what is technically called a tailwind, and it's something India and the Indian economy has been presented with thanks to a young, growing working age population, a rise in domestic and foreign investment, a growing manufacturing sector, increase in domestic consumption, productivity improvements, the big infrastructure push, political stability, a positive and contributing role in global geopolitics, etc. Now, as is always the case, some sectors, some industries do better than others or show a lot more promise. In this context, I've identified 6 mega themes where India and Indian companies are poised for significant growth. And for investors like you and me, these sectors present a promising investment avenue for capitalizing on the future of India's growth story. Let's begin. Our first megatrend is urbanization, which is the term used when the population of a country starts moving from its villages to urban areas, resulting in the growth and expansion of our cities. It's something that's already happening in India as people seek higher education, as more infrastructure gets developed in our cities, and very specific to India when agriculture turns even more unremunerative as compared to other occupations. To put this in numbers, it's expected that 40% of Indians, or about 600 million people, will be living in urban centers over the coming decade. This understandably translates to a massive demand for real estate, and not just from a residence perspective, but also in terms of schools, hospitals, offices, retail, hotels, movie theaters, and much more. And it's not that companies are not looking at this mega trend. For example, Max Healthcare very recently acquired the 550-bed Sahara Hospital in Lucknow, and notice some of the things they said in their latest earnings call. Firstly, Lucknow is going to be a metro soon with massive infrastructure and connectivity. UP's population is the size of Europe. And in spite of all this, and in the words of Mr. Abhay Soy, the chairman and managing director, the entire city of Lucknow has just 1.5 corporate hospitals right now. So just like Lucknow, we have people migrating to Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Kochi, Ahmedabad, Chennai, etc., which means more roads, more bridges, the metro, airports, cars, bikes, water management solution, and of course ancillaries like cement, metal, paints, fans, lights, wires, pipes, ceramics, etc. will all be very much in demand. In fact, the setting up of multiple smart city projects is another shot in the arm. And although there's a lot of work to be done here, what this means is that urbanization will not be confined to the megacities alone, but will move to tier 2 and tier 3 locations, including Coimbatore, Indore, Jaipur, Srinagar, Nagpur, Surat, Vishakhapatnam, etc. So, urbanization is a huge multi-year, a multi-decade theme, and if I have to pin down a few sub-themes, then I certainly want to focus my research on the big home loan providers, as the demand for housing is very likely to supersede supply, and land prices are anyways headed in only one direction. Secondly, the urbanization trend augurs well for construction and infrastructure development companies like PNC Infratech, KNR Constructions, Ashoka Buildcon, etc. I look at companies in the electrical consumer durable space like Havells, Crompton, Dixon, Blue Star, etc. with much interest, as the demand for fans, lights, air conditioning, refrigeration, geysers continues to move up. And of course, hospitals, because this is one segment that is always in demand, aka a defensive stock, and unfortunately, our medical infrastructure has not kept pace with our rising population. So these 4 areas, home loan providers, construction companies, consumer durables, and hospitals, is where I would want to participate within the urbanization space. The next big trend is around climate, or might I say climate related businesses, or climate tech as it's commonly called, which includes businesses that are primarily focused on the restoration of the environment. Now, the good thing is that many countries and governments are formulating policies and supporting domestic industries to meet their respective climate goals over the next 20, 30, 40 years. Specific to India, we made this promise of achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2070, which is definitely a challenging target. But it's also a mega opportunity for Indian businesses, with this climate theme being built upon a number of big sub themes such as renewable energy, waste management, sustainable agriculture, water conservation, energy efficient construction, clean air technologies, electrical vehicles, carbon capture, and a lot more. In fact, there are themes within sub-themes, and in that context, green energy, which is a subset of renewable energy, is demonstrating significant promise. And just a few weeks back, Adani Green Energy Limited announced the development of a 30 gigawatt renewable energy plant in the Kutch area of Gujarat at a cost of $20 billion and over an area of 538 square kilometers, making it the world's largest power plant. So, as a country, we are making progress on the climate front, and while the renewable energy sector has attracted major investments in the last 7 to 8 years as the world's third largest energy consuming country, and with a stated goal of generating 500 gigawatts of non fossil fuel based energy by 2030, there's still a long way to go. And as of February of 2024, the country stands at about 190 gigawatts of installed capacity. So, as investors, we can expect more investments to come in from private and government enterprises together with better economics, stronger policies. And it's not just energy companies. I expect this climate theme to support the entire ecosystem, which includes power generation, its transmission and storage, the growing thrust towards electric vehicles, pipes, cables, and wires, smart grids, batteries, and energy efficient devices, the manufacturing of solar panels, wind turbines. Very importantly, the securing of raw materials like lithium, cobalt, nickel, etc. And of course, continued research leading up to the development and the building of scalable, sustainable, and efficient green energy infrastructure. The stocks associated with this megatrend, so the likes of Wari Renewables, Adani Green Energy, Gensol, NHPC, SGVN, IREDA, Inox Wind, etc., had a stellar 2023 with most of these stocks delivering 100% or more in profits. This rally was funded by the government's ambitious targets and positive investor sentiments, and honestly, there is little evidence to suggest that this rally will not continue for a few more years, if not decades. In fact, this reminds me of something Jeff Bezos of Amazon said when he was asked a question on what's going to change in the next 10 years. And I'm just paraphrasing here, but Mr. Bezos' response was more on understanding what is not going to change in the next 10 years. For instance, is the customer likely to want a higher price or a lower price in the future? And I'm sure we all know the answer to that. Similarly, is the customer likely to want a faster delivery or a slower delivery in the future? And again, we know the answer to that. Mr. Bezos' point was simple. It's so much easier to make a strategy when we think in terms of things that aren't going to change in the future. And in our context, if you're an investor who has a vision for the future, then do train your eyes on climate tech, because there's no way our planet is getting cleaner on its own. When the Digital India campaign was launched by Prime Minister Modi in July of 2015, I'm guessing there were more skeptics than believers. Jumla, that's the word I think that was used, which means empty promises. But that was then, and fast forward to today, me, you, we're all enjoying the benefits of high-speed internet, digital delivery of government services, BharatNet, Startup India, biometric identity cards, a 5G network, Umang, DigiLocker, Bharat Bill Payment System, UPI, eSampark, ePanchayat, and many other initiatives that have made India a major digitization hub, and with it comes a world of opportunities. For example, and at the heart of these efforts is the so-called India Stack, which is simply a series of government-backed APIs that offer access to government IDs, payment networks, and secure data to any third party. Startups and companies then build apps on top of this digital infrastructure to provide consumers with seamless access to everything from welfare payments to loan applications, which has helped create companies like Paytm and PhonePe, and even social initiatives like Nammayatri, which is an open source ride-sharing app built upon the ONDC framework. For investors, there is a lot to keep a track of, and when it comes to the digitization theme, a choice of sub-themes is never a bad thing to have. So firstly, there is the IT services sector with established and steadily growing companies, and what one needs to look out for is their pace of transition from just body shopping or outsourcing to a more digital, AI, and automation driven adopter of newer technologies and revenue streams. Then, secondly, there are the e commerce players who have picked up pace in the listings market. And although only a few of them are profitable, but they are becoming profitable. And with more companies looking to access the capital markets, so companies like Swiggy, Oyo, Lenskart, Ola Electric, etc., this is one area investors would want to keep an eye on. A third related offshoot of digitization is the range of specialized services that come with it. So things like data engineering, cloud computing, mobility, tech consulting, design services, analytics, cybersecurity, etc. And a final lookout is for companies that are building digital infrastructure in the form of networks, satellite technology, semiconductors, data centers, fiber optic cables, Wi-Fi technology, etc. So these are a few promising sub-themes. I know this is a vast topic, but digitization is definitely a mega trend that isn't going away anytime in the foreseeable future. And as a country, India and Indian companies are likely to be leaders in this field over the next few years. We've all heard of the phrase health is wealth, and contextually, healthcare is a massive opportunity in India with a current market size of about $180 billion, which in rupee terms comes to about 15 lakh crores of expenses that we Indians are incurring every year on hospitals, pharmacies, diagnostics, insurance, medical devices, etc. It's a sector that's expected to grow by at least 12% per annum over the next 10 years. And as an investor, and in my opinion, healthcare has to have a decent weightage in your portfolio. It's something I'm very bullish on, and some of the sub themes within healthcare that one should definitely consider includes the proliferation of single specialty hospitals and specialty clinics, especially in the field of ophthalmology, mother and child IVF, and also oncology. And we're already seeing the emergence of providers with an asset light operating model that offers better EBITDA margins and have a shorter payback period. Then there are multi-specialty hospitals that will continue to attract interest, as there will always be a strong fundamental demand for them, and do watch out for market consolidation and a greater spread towards tier 2 and tier 3 markets. A third promising sub-theme is around the manufacturing of medical equipment and consumables, with the entire Make in India thing and a growing focus on quality, affordable pricing, the availability of R&D workforce, and of course exports. Healthcare technology is definitely on the rise thanks to an increased focus on digitizing operations, remote technology, and an increasing appetite for online platforms for consultation, preventive healthcare, diagnosis, and nutrition management. And the fifth and final sub-theme I would want to watch out for is around diagnostics, with many listed and unlisted players looking to merge their expertise, accelerate patient reach, and expand their product portfolios to offer one-stop solutions. So these 5 sub-themes within the larger healthcare framework look really promising to me for the coming decade, and this is where a lot of the action and investment is headed. I would really encourage you to go through the annual reports and the earnings call of some of these companies that I've listed here to get a better understanding of where the healthcare sector is headed, and believe me, you learn a lot from this exercise. The fifth mega theme is the financialization of household savings, which is a fanciful way of saying that people are moving away from traditional assets like real estate and gold. It's a trend that's only accelerating in India, and as stated in a 2022 report by CRISIL, while the total assets of the managed investment industry in India stands at 135 lakh crores, this number is likely to more than double by 2027, and if I were to assume a further continuation at an 18% growth, then the country's managed investment AUM would rise up to 1000 lakh crores or $12 trillion by 2035. My point is, financialization of household savings is a big theme, and while much has happened in the investment landscape over the last 7-8 years, there is a growing feeling that the industry has barely scratched the surface, given the fact that the country's population is still young and growing. The penetration of financial products, especially wealth products, is still on the lower side. Incomes are rising. There's a definite increase in financial inclusion. The economy is getting digitized, and now there is more awareness about capital market products thanks to influencers like us. We've already seen a massive jump in demat accounts, in mutual fund AUMs, and also NPS over the years. And in that context, the sub-themes one should take special interest in includes the banking and NBFC sector, which grew by 130% in the last 10 years, as compared to the previous 65 years and is widely expected to grow by 14% per annum over the next 10 years. The country's capital markets are likely to benefit big from the financialization of savings, and this includes the two stock exchanges, the BSE and NSE, and also their proxies in the form of depository institutions, registry agents, and credit rating companies. The asset management companies, mutual funds, PMS, wealth advisors, etc., well, these guys will be big winners. And although there are some 50 lakh crores of AUM in mutual funds right now, it's not hard to believe that this is just the beginning and there's a lot more action that's expected here. And finally, as individuals, as we get more aware and the proportion of people who are above 60 years of age rises in society, the retirement fund management industry will become all the more relevant in terms of the number of products, the AUM, and of course, the number of consumers availing it. Our sixth and final mega theme is manufacturing, and for what it's worth, India is definitely witnessing a significant shift in its manufacturing dynamics. Gone are the days when we were known for textiles, handicrafts, and agro-based industries, as today's India shows a growing focus on technology, innovation, and skilled labor. In numbers, India's manufacturing market is poised to reach $1 trillion in the next couple of years, with Gujarat becoming India's manufacturing powerhouse, followed by Maharashtra and then Tamil Nadu. In terms of percentage, while manufacturing today contributes 17% to India's GDP, it is poised to rise up to 21% in the next 6-7 years thanks to growing FDI inflows, which reflects global investor confidence, the government's Make in India initiative, policies such as the production linked incentive, that is the PLI scheme for sectors like automobiles, electronics, and textiles, and of course, enabling functions like the ease of doing business, logistics, 24/7 electricity, etc. Again, as investors, since we are talking about tailwinds and sub-themes here, and from what I've read, there is a larger focus around 10, 12 sectors. So not everything, just a few industries, which includes automotive and auto components, capital goods, construction equipments, cement, chemicals, fertilizers, pharmaceuticals, electronics, white goods, machine tools, metal products, textiles, and paper. In terms of emerging sectors, one should look at semiconductors, agri-tech, and waste management, as these look rather promising. Other technology-based areas which are gathering a lot of attention are AI integration, 3D printing, Internet of Things, advanced material sciences, and sustainable practices. And very importantly, there are companies in the logistics sectors across road, rail, ports, and waterways that have become super investment worthy by virtue of them being one of the biggest enablers for the manufacturing industry of India. Okay, so this was something new. I normally don't talk about macro stuff in my videos or the general economy per se, but I must confess that looking at things from a top-down perspective does help. And it really doesn't matter whether you're looking at it from an individual stock perspective or maybe from a sector perspective, for which there is no dearth of mutual funds, ETFs, small cases, AIFs, PMS, and even ULIP schemes that can be invested into for capturing the thematic opportunity. The point of this exercise and my own belief is that if a long-term investor focuses on just these 6 areas that we have discussed today, then I'm certain there's a lot of money to be made here over the next 5, 10, 15 years. I sincerely hope you liked this presentation. It helped you organize your thoughts. Do share this video with others, like this video, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll see you very soon. Until then.